What's up guys, welcome back. This is Anime Fiction. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Reborn as a Phenix God Part 11. Now let's begin. So if I understand correctly, did Odin initially want to eliminate me out of fear that I would challenge his authority, and later because he didn't want an unpredictable factor like me getting in the way of his ambitions for Asgard and his family? Naruto inquired, his demeanor shifting from lighthearted to serious in response to the intense gazes of the Phoenix Force. He believed that the expression on the person's face was one of disapproval, and Jin's emotional breakdown from hearing the heartbreaking story about Naruto's birth. Indeed, exactly. He is no longer actively seeking your presence as he remains unaware of your existence. However, if he were to discover your presence and your connection to him, he would go to great lengths to ensure that you do not jeopardize Asgard, his current family, and the intricate schemes he has been orchestrating for quite some time. It would be wise to refrain from drawing attention to yourself until you have gained enough power to confront him. Based on my observations, this should not take much time. You appear to be developing at an impressive pace, which may be attributed to your status as my son. The golden bird nodded in approval at the last part, as if acknowledging Naruto's growth. I understand. Of course, I'll be happy to assist you with that. By the way, what happened to my mother's soul? Can I arrange a meeting with her? Naruto inquired. He was uncertain about whether he truly desired to meet his biological mother or not. He held great admiration for the woman who brought him into the world, yet he questioned whether he could fully embrace her as his mother. Could he even refer to her as his mother at this stage? Unfortunately, no. It happened nearly 1 billion years ago. It is likely that her soul has already gone through the reincarnation cycle multiple times. It is incredibly challenging to isolate her soul, especially after such a long period of time. Moreover, restoring her to life while preserving her memories and personality is an even more daunting task. The Phoenix Force relayed the information. I understand, Naruto replied. He didn't seem bothered by this in the slightest. He sincerely wished that his biological mother, wherever she may be, was leading a fulfilling life. She definitely deserved that. Oh, does my little one need his mother? Rest assured, I am here to provide you with the care and affection you need, my dear. Jean embraced Naruto affectionately, pulling him close to her. She pressed his face gently against her chest, which had a pleasing size and shape. Oh yeah? All right then. I'll gladly accept your offer once we return to our residence. Naruto grinned mischievously at her, envisioning all the inappropriate things he could soon do with the body of his longtime Marvel crush. Jean, initially attempting to appear confident, quickly became shy as she watched him leave, her face turning a bright shade of red. From Naruto's perspective, it was rather endearing. I believe it is necessary to conclude our meeting at this point. Before you two depart to your realm, may I ask for one final favor? My child? The large bird inquired while gazing at Naruto. Yes, please proceed, mother. Naruto smiled and pondered what he could do to assist the immensely powerful cosmic entity. May I give you a hug? I have always desired to experience the warmth of embracing my own son and feeling the love of my family. I've always been curious to personally experience what humans often recall as a heartwarming and enjoyable sensation. Can I do it? Phoenix inquired. All right. I suppose I can at least do that for my mother, right? Naruto chuckled as he gazed at the phoenix, his eyes filled with a sense of contentment, as he pondered how she could possibly embrace him in her massive form. Complete with enormous fiery wings, the Phoenix Force underwent a rapid transformation. The enormous bird morphed into a stunning human woman, her body adorned with flames that delicately concealed her most intimate areas. This gave her an alluring and captivating appearance. Approaching Naruto with a sense of intimacy, she embraced him, allowing him to feel the gentle touch of her curves against his strong physique. You didn't have to choose such an intense form, you know? Do I have to compete against my own mother-in-law now as well? Jean quietly muttered to herself. Obviously, Naruto and his mother were fully aware of the sound thanks to their exceptional senses, but they chose to disregard it without any response. After a considerable amount of time embracing Naruto, the Phoenix Force finally detached, managing to avoid any further awkwardness while appearing quite satisfied and content with her recent encounter. "Thank you for that. I think I needed that." She seemed unsure of herself. "It'll be occupied for the time being. I need to choose a new host for myself in your universe to ensure balance, considering Jean has become quite an independent entity. Unfortunately, she will no longer be available to host me. Perhaps I'll consider organizing a contest to select my next highly compatible host." Jean was unsure of how to reply to that. She felt a mix of relief that she would never have to experience something like this again, yet also a tinge of sadness for not having the opportunity to know her future mother-in-law. "May I offer a suggestion?" Naruto exclaimed, his face lighting up with a brilliant idea. "I am here, ready to listen." The Phoenix Force listened attentively as she paid attention to him, eager to hear him out. "I have a set of highly skilled and exceptional quintuplets in my group, actually. I believe they would be an excellent fit for your upcoming host." Naruto began with a smile reminiscent of a seasoned professional. "Oh, can you provide me with more information?" The Phoenix Force seemed quite intrigued by Naruto's words. If she managed to acquire 5 highly skilled telepaths who shared a powerful psychic bond, she may have discovered a worthy successor to Jean. As Naruto and Jean regained consciousness, they realized that they hadn't budged from their original spots. Jean remained suspended in the sky, her arms bound by Naruto's black receivers, as the new god floated alongside her, partially unclothed, while maintaining his grip on Jean. "Are celestial armors covered by a lifetime guarantee?" Naruto pondered, unfazed by the numerous notifications flooding his system, as he examined the damaged sections of his armor that had previously withstood even the most brutal assaults from Apocalypse. "You are truly exceptional, you know." Naruto smiled and gently patted Jean's head, releasing her hands from the black receivers. All the floating debris and destroyed parts of his armor had transformed into atomized dust, which either fell to the ground or blew away with the wind, as if they had never existed. Jean, lacking understanding, tilted her head cutely and simply focused on enjoying the soothing head pats. "Are you still in business?" Kurt Wagner was the first one to approach them, looking uncertain. "Yeah, it certainly appears that way," Naruto said, shifting his attention towards him. Jean remained silent, burdened by the remorse of the havoc caused by her actions. She maintained a solemn gaze towards the ground, avoiding eye contact with anyone. It appears that Jean was under the influence of a malevolent entity that harbored a deep hatred for all forms of life, resulting in the widespread destruction. "It was important for me to contact Jean and remind her of the support and love she had from her family," Naruto said loudly, ensuring that everyone nearby could hear him. He had a clear understanding of Jean's thoughts and was determined to protect her from any blame or discomfort resulting from the destruction that had occurred. Undoubtedly, there may still be individuals who find it difficult to fully forget and forgive, but his main desire was for those closest to her to maintain a positive relationship with her. He usually wouldn't go to such great lengths to help Jean regain the forgiveness and acceptance of her friends and the people here. However, the school and the majority of its students and staff were somewhat under his influence and allegiance. After the departure of the esteemed professor from the school, his reputation soared to new heights. The recently renamed Arcane Institute has informally become a valuable resource for his metahuman program, closely linked to his existing metahuman hub in Genosha. It was in his best interest to foster positive relationships with members of his own faction. "Is that so? Is she back to her usual self now?" "Thank you, Jean. We were genuinely concerned about you. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well now." Kurt, known for his kind and trusting nature, readily accepted Naruto's words and expressed his joy. After hearing Naruto's explanation, witnessing Jean's remorseful expression, and observing Cut's forgiving demeanor, many individuals also felt more at ease as they approached them. Several individuals, including Pietro, Pyotr, and Aurora, readily forgave Jean after Naruto used his exceptional abilities to heal their injuries. However, Anna, Wanda, and Lorna chose to keep their distance from Jean and did not interact with her much, clearly expressing their disapproval of her presence. Nevertheless, Jean remained undeterred by any of this. She was fully aware of the consequences of her actions and the harm she had inadvertently caused. She didn't hold anyone responsible for their fear or anger towards her, nor did she harbor any ill feelings towards those who chose to ignore her. She was determined to one day regain their respect and friendship by proving herself worthy of being Naruto's follower in the future. Jean, it's great to have you back. I've always anticipated your eventual return. We were all under the impression that we had lost you. I am pleased to see that our initial assumptions were incorrect, Professor Charles Xavier said as he gracefully glided on his wheelchair. He appeared to be in a state of poor health, with sunken eyes and a slender physique. He appeared to have aged significantly since Naruto last saw him. He was experiencing some difficulty with his breathing. Oh, Professor, it's nice to see you as well. I'm relieved to see that you're still alive after everything you've been through. Your resilience is truly remarkable, isn't it? It appears that you have remained unchanged despite the passage of time. Haven't you? Still harboring undisclosed thoughts in that mind of yours. Jean said in a confident manner as she calmly stared down the professor with a knowing, relaxed smile. Naruto was curious about her mysterious conversation, but he respected Jean's signal to discuss it later and remained silent. A vibrant pink ice cream truck unexpectedly appeared, blaring its horn as it approached the group. It came to a halt just in time, narrowly avoiding a collision with the professor in his wheelchair. Apologies for the inconvenience. I was unaware that this was a designated parking spot for individuals with disabilities. What are you all currently engaged in? Has all the action already taken place? Is my arrival tardy for my inaugural X-Men team-up action sequence? Oh my, I strongly dislike this sluggish ice cream truck. I suspected that the salesman was being dishonest when he provided me with the specifications of the truck. Gwenpool expressed her disappointment as she stepped out of the truck, regretting that she had missed the fight. Maybe next time, Gwen. There will be a lot more conflicts in the future. You'll have your opportunity. Naruto couldn't help but provide hope to the girl who was drawing circles on the ground in despair. Oh, hello, boss. I didn't see you there. I completed the task you set me. I brought the folks you asked, but they were protesting and asking too many questions, so I used the old-fashioned approach and kidnapped them. I did well, right? Praise me. Gwenpool suddenly became cheerful again, acting like a child on a sugar high. What? You abducted them. Sigh, Gwen. I instructed you to accompany them here, not kidnap them. Anyway, it's done. But no compliments for you this time. You received a 6 out of 10 mission accomplishment rating. Naruto stated as he unlocked the truck's rear and saw a guy and a lady chained with their wrists behind their backs and their lips taped shut. They were moaning and pleading for someone to liberate them. He felt a headache coming on after viewing this. Just release them quickly, Naruto murmured, looking at Jean with sympathy. Huh? Why are you looking at me like that? Jean inquired, perplexed. Because this kidnapping is related to you. Naruto made an uneasy laugh. He never imagined he'd be engaged in an abduction, despite the fact that he is now a deity. What do you mean? Wait, do I recognize these two? Their looks seem very familiar for some reason. Jean remarked, trying to recall where she had seen them previously. Perhaps they were famous celebs or something. They are your parents, Jean. Charles Xavier had destroyed and manufactured your memories of them, while convincing them that you were unwell and required treatment to recover at his school. He made it seem as if you could never leave the school grounds and that they could never reach you if they wanted you to get well. Most likely, he employed psychic manipulation to persuade them to believe and accept such absurd demands. In reality, the creature that now possessed Jean was a direct consequence of Charles' unethical mental manipulations of your mind without your permission when you were a youngster. Naruto revealed as he ensured that everyone there could hear him well. What? Jean and her parents, who had been released from their shackles, both yelled at the same moment, unable to comprehend that someone had almost destroyed a significant piece of their life simply to recruit a pupil for his school. The professor, on the other hand, was unable to respond at all, clenching his teeth and looking down in shame. He couldn't reject any of the charges since they were all accurate. Naruto disclosed all of this information about Jean in front of the whole school in order to change Jean's image from villain to victim of Charles' manipulation. This way, he could not only clear her name and image, but also place all blame on the professor and destroy the last vestige of dignity and respect he had in the minds of the teachers and students, completing Naruto's control over the academy, eliminating Professor Xavier's influence, and removing him from the game for good. You really are a shameful guy, aren't you? I couldn't believe I had previously respected you. You're a demon dressed in saint's garb. You devastated not just my life, but also that of my parents. You still haven't improved. You're still concealing things, attempting to influence others, and doing the unspeakable. But not anymore. It'll reveal everyone what you're concealing and who you really are. Jean said as her eyes gleamed silver. The professor was legitimately terrified. He was terrified not for his life but for his own mind and sanity, as he could sense telepathic tendrils attempting to infiltrate his head and puncturing his mental shields. He glanced about, asking for aid with his eyes, hoping that someone would understand what he was trying to do, sympathize with him, and stop her. But no one did. Naruto had already prevented everyone from intervening. He believed in Jean. He was certain that she would not do anything that would complicate his work or lead others to mistrust or criticize her again. So no one came to aid Professor Charles Xavier as he sat in his wheelchair, despondent that his mind had been forced open for the first time in his life. His alpha-level mental skills were unable to resist Jean's improved omega-level telepathic attack. He was now bearing the full impact of being mind-raped. As Jean's telepathic tendrils finally penetrated and entered Charles' consciousness, he felt his whole existence being unveiled in front of her, his memories, his deepest secrets, his ambitions. Everything was laid naked for her to read like an open book. There, found it. Jean grinned after a minute, pulling something unseen from Charles' consciousness. Like a fish hooked in a fishing hook, something frightening emerged from Xavier's corpse, taking on a humanoid form. This humanoid creature resembled Magneto in his conventional suit and helmet, but with major steroids since it was tall and built like a wrestler. There was also an awful feeling about it, like if it were a ghost or something. Naruto recognized the monster right once. It was one of the X-Men's enemies, Onslaught, another terrible result of the professor's duplicity in the comics. In the comics, he or it was the monster formed by Magneto and Professor X's combined telepathic capabilities. And, based on its look and provenance, this one seems to be similar. Interesting, it seems that you were harboring secrets again, Professor. You had Magneto's soul within you. Did you actually love your friend? Naruto couldn't help but joke. Magneto, is he still alive? Pietro inquired as he peered at the creature he suspected to be his dictator father, who had just returned from the dead. No, it's a ghostly entity formed by the professor's psionic energy and Magneto's psychic remnants, which the professor had somehow managed to save and store in himself. It may nearly be described as a gigantic meta-ghost. Jean responded to Pietro as she reviewed the professor's recollections. That's about correct. It also seems that it has not been completely developed yet. Jean most likely removed it when it was still in its gestation and development stage. Naruto noted its half-formed legs and odd opacity. That explains why it's not moving or even conscious, Ororo said while viewing the ghost. Given the current circumstances, the majority of the pupils had begun to mumble among themselves. Some were guessing about things, while others were just furiously protesting about the professor's immoral behavior, fearing the possibility of creating a new adversary. However, Naruto swears he overheard someone speaking to someone else about how they knew the professor was Magneto's homosexual lover and had long suspected him of being pregnant. The main guy, Professor Charles Xavier, was unable to answer to any of the claims since he was now in a vegetative condition, only murmuring something about Eric as a result of Jean's mental assault and Onslaught's extreme psionic energy deprivation. So, should I trash it? I get a feeling of power and negativity from it. Allowing it to survive might result in a new adversary for us. Jean said that her attitude toward kindness and nonviolence seemed to have shifted significantly during the Dark Phoenix debacle. Wait, isn't that kind of like an unborn fetus? Can we even kill it without the government's permission? Seems to be more than 4 weeks old. Kitty emerged from the throng and spoke out, projecting a sense of concern and empathy. I like you, Kitty. You're quite awesome, but if you say anything like that again, we won't be friends. Also, I believe that remark only applies to human offspring, not a demonic monster spawned by a metahuman Hitler and a wannabe Gandhi and resembling The Rock in awful cosplay armor. Naruto said unequivocally that he will disregard any pointless woke words from everyone present. Many people were relieved because they didn't want to deal with another crazy villain who wanted to steal their power or kill them, but there was also a minority who had empathetic gazes and wondered if Onslaught deserved another chance at life because it hadn't done anything evil until now. Maybe I should make it a law that individuals in my faction cannot be woke as long as they work for me because I don't want to deal with the retarded abominations who will occupy this country 2 decades later. He reflected while really pondering the proposal. Sorry, I was just trying to get involved in the conversation. Kitty responded, embarrassed by her own actions. They always do. Naruto answered and moved on, without explaining what he was talking about. Naruto has not gotten any system quests relating to Onslaught for whatever reason. Perhaps it wasn't that significant to the story. That effectively meant he had total freedom to do anything he wanted without worrying about missing any rewards. Don't kill it. Naruto made a decision. He had a far better purpose for it. He'll take care of it, Naruto said as he approached Onslaught. He might simply tell Jean to kill it, but that would not sit well with some of the people here who believed in second chances for crazy criminals. Hell, even Ororo seemed to be one of them, since she was unsure if they should kill it based only on a supposition. Also, it felt like a waste to just kill it and be done with it. Naruto smiled as he accessed one of his Rinnegan talents, which he had not before utilized. And strong beam of energy emitted from both of his hands, targeting Onslaught. The beam encompassed the armored monster in pure light and gradually distorted its body. Onslaught's corpse quickly vanished from public eye. I used my powers to put him in stasis. We would do adequate investigation later to ascertain if it is genuinely bad or not. If it is not an evil entity, we will either release it someplace secure or ensure its well-being. Naruto clearly lied, and his Golden Rule expertise made it totally plausible. There was no evidence or sign that Naruto was lying, so the people mainly accepted him and walked on, since they didn't see a little pear-shaped fruit in Naruto's right palm, concealed from view. Now, I believe it is time for everyone to return to your rooms, Ororo stated, observing that the gathering was just expanding and getting more restless with time. Fortunately, Naruto halted Jean's atomizing assault before it reached the dormitory building, leaving it almost unscratched. As all the students and teachers slowly returned to their respective dormitories and rooms, and even Ororo left while escorting the comatose-looking professor and Jean's parents to the institute, Naruto whispered into Jean's ears, "It's time for you to regain your lost respect with some good PR moves. What do I need to do? I would do whatever to regain your and the others' confidence." Jean expressed determination. "Do not worry. It won't be that tough. All you have to do is repair everything you've destroyed and try to heal Scott's fractured mind." Naruto remarked, hoping that her full Omega-level skills, bolstered by the dark Phoenix energies she received, would be enough to mend Scott's shattered psyche. "Oh, come on. Really?" Jean expressed frustration. "What? You are the one who wrecked this place, so it is only reasonable that you restore it. Also, given your ability, you should be able to complete everything in one night." Naruto responded, unwilling to back down from his resolve. "I was not discussing it. Couldn't you find someone else to heal Scott, or simply let him stay like that for a few more days? I'm sure he's enjoying his relaxed time in bed right now." Jean remarked with an innocent, honest grin. "No, you are the one who must do it. I'm sure I could do it, but doing so would give the impression that you're attempting to improve yourself and make amends by accepting responsibility for your acts. Also, you don't need to make him entirely mentally healthy, just enough to pass him off as normal and mentally fit, if you see what I mean." Naruto flashed Jean a wicked grin as he gazed at her, and she answered with one of her own after realizing what he was saying. "By the way, are you going to eat that delicious-looking juicy pear since I'm extremely hungry right now?" Surprisingly, an ice cream truck had no ice cream. "So, if you're not going to eat it, may I have it?" Gwenpool spoke out after a time, staring hungrily at the fruit in Naruto's hands and pouring drool from her lips. "I believe I should begin teaching Wanda more sophisticated magic or hire a private magic instructor for her. Perhaps Celine would be an excellent option. For the time being, I need to concentrate on boosting the quality and number of my followers before the big scales war begins in the MCU. Naruto considered this as he returned to his mansion via the mirror reality. But first, let's count my gains, Naruto remarked, directing his system to display the fresh alerts. First quest completed. Second quest finished. Rewards are distributed. Nirvana Flame perk card added to inventory. Divine Psychic perk card is in the inventory, displaying information about chosen cards. Nirvana Flame users may generate, shape, and control blue supernatural flames that are hotter and more powerful than conventional orange flames. The hue is caused by very high temperatures and full combustion, with temperatures reaching at least 525 C, 777 F. It has the ability to not only burn away physical items, but also impact supernatural beings or phenomena such as gods and spirits. It is also capable of burning pollutants. Divine Psionics: the user is a divine being who possesses divine powers that grant them immense amounts of psychic power, tapping into absolute, divine psionic might, achieving an unimaginable power, capabilities, and precision beyond mundane by an outstanding margin, namely astral projection, alpha-level telekinesis, alpha-level telepathy, and prayer tracking. At last I gained it. Naruto couldn't help but exclaim gleefully as he saw the final new talent he had acquired. He had always craved the abilities of telepathy and telekinesis, and now he had it. Even if those talents were alpha-level rather than omega-level, it made little difference since even alpha-level powers may be effective if properly trained. But I still have it, so I can cheat my way to the next level. He laughed covertly as he removed a pear from his inventory. He took a bite from the fruit. Nothing occurred at first, so he simply ate the whole banana until there was nothing left. But after a few seconds, he felt something in his gut. It was warm energy attempting to spread throughout his whole body. He could feel it gradually pouring through his blood, influencing his organs, and even his divinity and soul. Unidentified alien energy and biocode found in host body. Energy and biocode were evaluated and determined not to be detrimental to the host. Permission to permanently integrate energy and biocode into the host's existence. Accept or reject. Naruto agreed without hesitation and prepared himself for the huge transformation that would occur inside his body. He would be lying if he claimed he wasn't anticipating tremendous anguish to follow this transformation, which would cause him to shout like a dumb masochist as in those wuxia cultivation books. But sadly, or maybe luckily, this did not occur. He stood there in uneasy stillness until a notice broke it. New talents developed as a result of receiving energy and biocode. New talents are discovered to be comparable to some of the host's existing perks, combining comparable talents to create developed skills. Alpha-level telepathy advanced to omega-level telepathy. Alpha-level telekinesis advanced to omega-level telekinesis. Astral projection was upgraded to astral manipulation. Naruto was more than pleased. He had now not only mastered the most often employed Marvel skills, telepathy and telekinesis, but he had also achieved omega-level capabilities. This meant he was stronger than most people with such psychic abilities, with the exception of a few creatures like Jean Grey, who now had Dark Phoenix's ability with her own. The original Phoenix Force had moved on from Jean and entered the Frost Sisters the next day, after the Dark Phoenix assault. They found out to be ideal candidates since they can share the mental strain of being the Phoenix Force's host. In reality, they have already been able to capture a significant percentage of the Phoenix Force's strength, allowing them to compete with Jean on equal terms for a few seconds. Jean had also lately restored Scott's mental health. He was back to normal, with the exception of flushing whenever he saw a guy half-naked in front of him, particularly if the male was Wolverine. Naruto assumed why, and his hunch was mainly confirmed when Jean flashed him a dirty look when they saw Scott practically salivating at Wolverine's muscles in front of everyone. Nobody had seen it until now, but it was just a question of time, and Naruto wasn't concerned enough to warn Wolverine. He liked the man and considered him a buddy, but he wanted to see where things went. He and Jean were betting on how long it would take Wolverine to become weirded out and beat up Scott. Jean also told him that there was something strange about Scott's thinking, almost like indications of early-age indoctrination that had set deep roots before Jean completely erased and reconstructed his mind. Naruto had listened to her and responded with only 2 words quite sinister. But, as William Shakespeare famously said, everything is well that ends well. He reflected as he prepared to exit the mirror realm and finally accomplish what he had been procrastinating for quite some time. It was finally time to free a succubus. Naruto hoped that the tomb contained Cheel, the succubus monster queen from the Deadpool comics. He couldn't conceive who else might be imprisoned within there. He exited the mirror plane and opened a mysterious gateway to the confinement chamber, where the sarcophagus was held. Naruto's armor was severely damaged right now, so he no longer had a link to the mother box via it. He had to either fix it or create new armor in order to reconnect with Aiza. Thus, he was temporarily depending on magic portals instead of boom tubes, now that Morgana had shown him how to use them even without sling rings, since he didn't want to bother Aiza and distract her from her various tasks every time he needed to go somewhere. "Let's see who you are, my dear mummy." He remarked this as he utilized his telekinesis to easily remove the top lid of the tomb, breaking many magical seals and spells in the process. As soon as he did so, a pale human hand with weird demonic claws emerged from the tomb, and an odd green mist with a pinkish color blanketed the whole scene. "It seems that I have finally awakened up. Thank you for waking me up. Now that I'm back, the world will be mine. Bow, and you may replace one of my consorts as I conquer the globe in my honor." A sizzling, seductive voice emerged from the mist-covered coffin, sounding like it was spoken by a hungry, frustrated MILF hellbent on seducing an innocent young kid. "Yeah, that's not happening," Naruto said confidently. "Yeah, that's not happening." Naruto answered with a calm, confident grin. "Then you will die." The woman, who had now been shown to be an exceptionally sexy lady with pale skin and large assets wearing some short black leathery garments to conceal them, stated this as she rushed towards Naruto at the speed of sound and kissed him passionately before he could stop her. Not that Naruto wanted to. She sought to absorb the life power of the person in front of her. In her view, it was very sad that she would not be able to find such a lovely guy as her first consort on her journey to rule the globe again. But that was the way it was. But, contrary to her expectations, nothing occurred. The life power of her victim did not flow into her, nor did the guy transform into a shriveled sack of dust and bones. "I'm sorry to tell you this, but you're not as good as you believe. Even Celine stinks better than you." He smiled and his eyes blazed scarlet red. The lady felt something for the first time in her life just then. She experienced panic and complete powerlessness. She felt like a little ant in front of a giant, a weakling in front of a deity. There was no prospect of her winning, or even of leaving this location with her life intact, unless the deity standing in front of her allowed it. "Who are you?" the lady questioned, panting as she dropped to her knees, unable to stand properly in his presence. "Me? I am your god from now on, woman, and you are my newest, personal succubus. I had meant to respectfully invite you to join me and work for me, but after you kissed me, I changed my mind. You should ask for goddamn permission before sexually assaulting someone, especially if that someone is a god." Naruto muttered self-righteously as he played the victim, staring at the lady with contempt and righteous fury. "I am sorry," the lady murmured faintly, wishing she could have stayed in the grave for a few more millennia instead of confronting a monster like this. She was unable to utilize her powers to protect herself. It was as if she had lost all resolve to oppose this guy. "Oh, so now you're expressing remorse. Huh? May I ask for your name, please?" Naruto made the decision to fully commit to his victim act. "I have had numerous names in my previous experiences. However, the name bestowed upon me by my family was Cheel, the Queen of Monsters. Is that so?" I was surprised to see her resemblance to Lady Death from Chaos Comics, with her pale skin and athletic physique, barely concealed by her black attire. Naruto pondered quietly. "And may I inquire, how did you end up enclosed in that coffin if you truly held such great power as a queen?" Naruto inquired, his brow raised in curiosity. He had already diminished much of his air of authority over the self-proclaimed queen. "I was a member of the royal family that once ruled Earth before humans took over as the dominant rulers of this realm. My family held dominion over all the creatures that inhabited that time, until the followers of the malevolent deity Seth united with the vampires and revolted against us, seeking to claim our power. My family courageously battled against them, but unfortunately, we did not have the same advantage they did. Unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in the war. However, I did not lose faith. I dedicated myself to mastering the dark arts and successfully made a pact with Lilith, the original demon, inheriting her formidable powers as her successor. However, my father believed that it was not the right time to seek revenge. As a result, he deceived me and confined me within a coffin, claiming it was for my own benefit. He intended for me to remain dormant until the circumstances were favorable for me to rise again and reclaim what is rightfully ours. Cheel exuded a strong sense of determination and righteousness in her gaze. Yeah, but that power wasn't really significant, was it? Can you confirm that you were not deceived by someone impersonating Lilith? There are likely many individuals on this planet who possess greater strength than you. It would be best to let go of the past and accept any accountability for your actions towards me. Naruto gave her a confident smirk. Excuse me? However, I made a solemn vow to my father and Lady Lilith that I would eventually ascend to the throne and govern the realm in her honor. If I don't succeed, it won't just be a personal failure. It will also disappoint my family and Lady Lilith, who entrusted me with her powers. Cheel dismissed Naruto's taunt about taking responsibility, focusing on other matters. There is a possible solution, although it may be challenging to implement. This is not suitable for individuals like yourself. It is a challenging journey. Naruto skillfully cast the bait. Could you please provide me with some information? I am fully committed to doing whatever it takes to restore the honor of my family and to fulfill the responsibilities bestowed upon me by Mother Lilith. Cheel regarded Naruto with a strong sense of purpose. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I am a new deity to be precise. In the near future, I will establish my own pantheon, complete with loyal supporters and followers. This realm will serve as my initial conquest. If you're interested, you have the opportunity to join as a member of my pantheon. You will have immense power, wealth, and influence, but it would require your complete submission to me in every aspect of your being. Naruto spoke in a hushed tone, sending chills down her spine. I am prepared. I am willing to do whatever it takes to achieve my goals. I am willing to fulfill your every desire, but in exchange, please consider allowing me to join your esteemed pantheon as one of your goddesses. Cheel showed her respect by bowing to him as she made her request. Naruto simply smiled and nodded in agreement. It was quite effortless to deceive individuals with his irresistible charisma and his advantages. Indeed, his words were undoubtedly accurate, yet he neglected to disclose the fact that he presently lacked the means to integrate her into his pantheon or bestow upon her the status of a genuine goddess, akin to himself. However, you will need to demonstrate your abilities and prove yourself to me. One of my faction members, Lilith Drake, is currently working towards unifying the entire monster world on this planet under her leadership. Your task will be to streamline her job and make it more efficient. Assist her in bringing together all monsters into a unified group, and I will acknowledge you as a valued member of our faction and reward you accordingly. Naruto gently said as he touched her cheek. As you wish, sir. Cheel couldn't help but be amazed by the person standing before her, who had managed to assert their dominance over the entire vampiric world. Her admiration for her new master grew in her heart as she vowed to prove her value and become his most reliable subordinate, trusted enough that he would one day choose her as his partner and allow her to share a throne beside his own once he completes his conquest of this realm. Naruto, being highly perceptive, could easily discern her thoughts through his telepathic abilities, yet he remained indifferent. He had a multitude of pressing matters to attend to. He had a packed schedule as a deity. He promptly instructed Aiza to escort her and introduce her to the other esteemed members of the League. Aiza was also tasked with ensuring she was properly settled and informed of her responsibilities as a citizen. Now, let's go and see the surprise Jean had prepared for me. Naruto pondered the situation, recalling the surprise that Jean had promised to deliver. It was a result of Naruto allowing Jean to manipulate the professor's mind as a form of retaliation. He didn't understand the thoughts and commands, but he had a hunch. After that incident, the professor transformed into a highly committed philosophy teacher, always wearing a smile and carrying out his daily tasks with enthusiasm. He suspected that Jean had likely pulled a similar move on the professor, just like Wanda did to Agatha in the finale of WandaVision. She had likely confined him to his role as a knowledgeable and content educator, which he greatly enjoyed, with his freedom and abilities significantly restricted. Later, Naruto entered a magical portal and emerged in Jean's bedroom, where she had summoned him for a surprise. Naturally, he could anticipate the nature of this specific surprise. "Caution, you have been alerted. Jean, what on earth are you wearing?" I have to say, I'm not complaining, but wow. Naruto was impressed when he saw Jean wearing an incredibly stylish costume. She was dressed in a revealing outfit, with a minimal amount of golden fabric barely covering her nipples and a similarly thin string underwear attempting to provide coverage. She was reclining on her bed in a T-pose, as if she were presenting herself as a work of art. "What are your thoughts on it?" Jean asked in a flirtatious manner, gazing at him and playfully biting her lips. "Do you approve? I really enjoy it. But what prompted your sudden decision?" Naruto inquired, keeping his gaze fixed on her alluring figure without any interruption. "After you rescued me from the Dark Phoenix incident, I had a profound realization about the fleeting nature of life. It made me determined to embrace every moment and live life to its fullest. Therefore, I made the choice to set aside my worries and fully commit myself to you. I hope that you can provide me with an exceptional experience, just like Aurora had." Jean said with a mischievous smile directed at Naruto. "Are you familiar with Aurora?" Naruto shifted his gaze away from her body and regarded her with a serious expression. "Indeed, we had a conversation. She seemed to experience a strong sense of guilt whenever she was in my presence, seemingly unaware of my abilities as an empath and telepath. I have a natural ability to understand and perceive people's emotions and thoughts. When I noticed that she was expressing her thoughts and emotions, I decided to have a conversation with her. Eventually, she opened up and shared everything honestly. Rest assured, I am not angry in the slightest. Although I was a bit disappointed to hear that you won't be exclusively mine, I understand and can't expect you to make that commitment, especially given the circumstances. But I have confidence that you will not abandon me, as I can perceive it through the strong connection we still possess." And Aurora made a compelling case about how you are sufficient for both of us. So I trusted her statement. Jean gave Naruto a flirtatious smile. "I understand. Thank you, Jean. You are truly exceptional as a girlfriend. I assure you that I will always be reliable and my affection for you will only grow stronger over time." Naruto gently approached Jean and tenderly caressed her cheeks. "I understand. Now, are you going to remain affectionate throughout the night, or are you going to passionately embrace me? I am completely devoted to you, my beloved Chad, for tonight and for all eternity," Jean said as she warmly embraced Naruto. She didn't have to tell Naruto again. He had meticulously cultivated Jean's excitement for months leading up to the Dark Phoenix event. She was ready to be taken advantage of now. Naruto firmly grasped her behind and gently guided her onto the bed. Jean's lips pressed against the side of his neck, planting gentle kisses. The touch of the divine caressed every inch of her form. Jean closed her eyes and experienced a warm sensation in her lower body. She felt a strong surge of pleasure building inside her as Naruto skillfully used his special technique on her. He gently embraced her from behind, and she exhaled deeply with desire as he guided her onto the bed. She eagerly opened her legs in anticipation. "Oh, this is going to be quite enjoyable," Naruto remarked as he gently caressed her thighs and skillfully unveiled a pair of voluptuous curves, akin to unwrapping a present. "Please," Jean pleaded with him, as she felt his tender kisses on the sides of her neck and the curves of her breasts, igniting a powerful surge of desire within her. Naruto's hands explored every inch of her alluring figure. He focused intently on her smooth legs and thighs, causing Jean to suddenly feel exposed from her legs down. And then he made his move. Jean's desire ignited as Naruto's tongue explored her thighs and moved closer to her, sending waves of pleasure coursing through her. She gently placed her hands on the back of his head, guiding him to a more intimate connection. She gave in to his actions, his tongue expertly exploring her with skillful precision. Jean closed her eyes, savoring the exquisite sensations that flooded her, engulfing every sense. Naruto's tongue skillfully explored her intimate area, eliciting pleasurable sounds from her. The intensity of his actions sent her into a state of ecstasy. Naruto, I would like. Jean was unable to complete her task as someone had already grabbed onto her breasts and started to pinch her nipples. Exquisite. He was taken aback as he kissed her breasts, and she trembled with pleasure as she unbuttoned his pants to release his impressive size and caress him. She firmly grasped his substantial appendage and started to move it rhythmically, her eyes shut in concentration. One statement resounded in her thoughts. Wow, he is incredibly large. Ororo was telling the truth when she mentioned the impact he had on her. Jean sighed in frustration as she increased the speed of her strokes, hoping to create a smoother surface before inserting it into its designated slot. She grasped his member and experienced its girth. Every vein, every movement. He was a formidable presence, and she was drawn to him. She nervously took a small lick, attempting to sample his intimate area. This is absolutely delicious. Jean expressed her pleasure as she kissed the top of his cock with great intensity, as if she were passionately kissing her crush. She sensually pleasured him with her lips, skillfully exploring new depths. She skillfully caressed his testicles, demonstrating her expertise. She skillfully pleasured him, using her mouth to bring him to climax. She intensified her actions, making louder sounds of pleasure as she continued to pleasure him, fully committed to taking him as deeply as she could. She was determined to have him ejaculate into her mouth. She had never experienced a flavor quite like his, and she could envision herself becoming completely captivated by his irresistible taste. Yes, I understand. She moaned as she pushed him down and took him deep. Naruto closed his eyes and gently caressed her breasts, focusing on bringing her maximum pleasure with his touch. His pulsating firm member slid deeply into her mouth as he released his essence, which she eagerly swallowed, nearly overwhelmed but still able to consume every drop, relishing the exquisite flavor. She moved back as Naruto started to gently caress her sensitive area, preparing it for their intimate moment, and lifted her. Are you prepared? He inquired, his gaze fixed on her, while Jean eagerly nodded, eager to share an intimate moment with the man she adored. I will start at a slower pace initially. Jean tightly embraced him as he passionately brought her closer, experiencing a powerful connection that transcended boundaries. She held him tightly as they moved together. Impressively large. Feels incredibly satisfying and fulfilling. Jean let out a soft sigh and nuzzled her face against his neck. She experienced intense pleasure as their connection deepened, bringing her to a heightened state of ecstasy. And so do you, Naruto said with a firm grip on her breasts, expressing his intense desire. Jean closed her eyes, surrendering to his passionate affection, as waves of pleasure coursed through her body. She maintained a steady rhythm, never pausing in her actions. Jean moved her hips rhythmically, engaging in an intimate act that brought her pleasure and a sense of connection. They were intimately connected as she maintained a rhythmic motion, moving up and down. The mutant's eyes closed as Naruto firmly grasped her breasts with intensity. Jean experienced a strong sensation that surged through his body. He entered her with force as she continued to guide him further inside. She gasped as his skilled touch sent waves of pleasure coursing through her body. Jean's eyes closed as she experienced the sensation, but Naruto was determined not to let that happen. I want to witness the satisfaction reflected in your eyes, Naruto expressed as Jean obediently opened her eyes, her mouth slightly ajar as her tongue descended. His member penetrated her deeply, causing her to feel a powerful sensation. She repeatedly engaged in intimate acts with him, experiencing intense sensations that brought her pleasure. Oh, she exclaimed as she reached the peak of pleasure while engaging in intimate activity. However, Naruto's efforts were far from over. He still had a long way to go with her. They engaged in a passionate and intense kiss, exploring each other's desires with fervor. He skillfully attended to her intimate areas, exploring and pleasuring her body at his discretion. Jean was now on her hands and knees as Naruto's hands firmly held onto her waist from behind. Whose ownership does this item fall under? Who is your owner? Naruto inquired as he gently touched her, causing Jean to experience another intense moment of pleasure, leaving Naruto's hands slightly damp. Yours, you please. Jean expressed some concerns about whether she was receiving more than she had anticipated, but she thoroughly enjoyed the experience. He gently caressed her, exploring her sensitive areas with care and tenderness, while maintaining a strong connection. He then finally entered her from behind, not into her womanhood but into her other intimate area, her anus. He forcefully thrust into her from behind, repeating the motion relentlessly. He maintained a vigorous rhythm as he engaged in intimate physical contact with his partner. Her pleasure intensified as Naruto moved rhythmically inside her, reaching depths that brought her immense satisfaction. Oh yeah, oh yes, yes. She expressed her enthusiasm and desire for him to continue, urging him to go faster without wanting him to stop. Naruto gently caressed her breasts and planted a tender kiss on the back of her neck, sending a delightful shiver down her spine. Naruto experienced intense pleasure as he continued to penetrate her. Impressive, very impressive. It's great that we have a strong and lasting connection. It'll ensure that these holes are properly loosened. Naruto grinned mischievously while teasing her sensitive nipples. Sweat trickled down Jean's alluring figure as she arched her back in ecstasy, while Naruto thrust into her with increasing intensity from behind. She was lying on the bed, experiencing intense pleasure that consumed her entire being. Naruto was completely focused and Jean's presence provided him with the ideal outlet to vent his pent-up frustration. Jean closed her eyes, fully aware that she would experience significant discomfort in the morning, yet she remained indifferent. I am satisfied with the outcome. His hands explored every inch of her body as she let out a passionate moan and sensually sucked on Naruto's fingers, which were marked with their intimate connection. Unhygienic individual, consuming your own bodily fluids. Naruto skillfully intensified his movements, delivering a rapid succession of thrusts. Yes, I am at your service. I am at your service, ready to fulfill your desires. Please discipline me further. She let out a loud cry as Naruto continued with force, causing her to feel intense pressure. His powerful instrument penetrated her deeply, while each climax she experienced intensified, heightening her bodice sensitivity. Her nipples became firm and rigid, adding to the pleasure she felt. Naruto was pleased to discover that she possessed significantly greater stamina than the average person, thanks to her body being enhanced by the Dark Phoenix's power to superhuman levels. He remained focused on his task and continued with his actions from behind. Almost there. He grunted as he inserted himself and vigorously pleasured her, bringing her to another climax. Jean experienced intense sensations as her body trembled. His cock glided effortlessly in and out of her, bringing her to the brink of ecstasy. He skillfully pleasured her, leaving her body trembling with delight. Please reach climax. Jean expressed pleasure as Naruto adjusted the speed of his movements, ensuring each one was forceful and impactful, aiming to deeply penetrate her. He felt a surge of pleasure as he released himself inside her. She experienced intense sensations throughout her body as he released inside her, causing a slight protrusion in her abdomen due to the volume. Her passionate cries grew louder as her body eagerly embraced his presence, her intimate depths yearning to savor every ounce of Naruto's essence. She experienced intense pleasure and satisfaction as she lay on the bed, wearing a joyful expression and feeling completely fulfilled. However, to her surprise, Naruto was still not finished. He desired to engage in several more rounds with her, ensuring that her body would become captivated by him by the conclusion of the evening. Aiza, how are the Frost sisters faring since their recent integration with the Phoenix Force? Naruto inquired the mother box in his headquarters. He had left Jean at the mansion exhausted after a night filled with intense emotions. He desired to spend the day in a similar manner, however, he had a multitude of tasks that required his attention. They have made significant adaptations. They are currently refining the technique of sealing the Phoenix shards within their hearts, transforming them into diamonds. The process you recommended has proven to be highly effective in countering the negative effects of the Phoenix Force, ensuring that they will never succumb to darkness like Miss Jean, Isa remarked, showcasing images of the sisters honing their ability to transform various parts of their bodies into diamond form. Well, I suppose that would be considered a successful endeavor. So, how far along are you in deciphering the coordinates to Asgard and the other realms? Naruto inquired, his gaze fixed on Isa. I have received the coordinates to Nornheim, Jotunheim, and Muspelheim from Morgana, but unfortunately, she was not aware of the coordinates for the other dimensions. However, we can quickly gain knowledge about them by exploring one of these dimensions. I suggest prioritizing the raid on Nornheim as it appears that the kingdom is currently unaligned with any other realm, based on information provided by Morgana. Isa provided advice. I understand. I agree with you. Conquering Nornheim would be highly advantageous for our cause. This place houses an extensive collection of magical knowledge, accompanied by a highly skilled and knowledgeable goddess of magic. Her expertise can greatly assist us in expanding our understanding of magic and accomplishing our goals in developing our own magical system. Naruto observed the information on Nornheim and Karnilla that Isa was presenting on a hologram. Naruto aspired to develop a unique runic magical system, allowing him to create spells that were entirely his own, while respecting the boundaries of existing magic systems and energy sources. He planned to develop a one-of-a-kind system that could harness his divine power as an energy source. In the future, he could even upgrade it to use alternative supernatural energy sources, such as his own dimensional energy. He understood that Nornheim stood as the sole part of the 9 realms not under Odin's protection. This implied that he could potentially succeed in invading and conquering the kingdom if he strategized effectively. However, that was for later. At this moment, he needed to focus on strengthening his forces prior to embarking on any conquests. What about the Sentinels? Are they prepared? Naruto inquired. We have a fleet of 3,000 grade Sentinels that are fully prepared for deployment whenever needed. Additionally, we have 300 war-type Sentinels that are highly weaponized and resemble Master Mold. Unfortunately, without molecule-altering nanotechnology, they are unable to independently create additional Sentinels. Regarding evolving Sentinels like Nimbus, the research in that area has been put on hold as per your request. In addition, we have created numerous recon-type stealth Sentinels and hunting-type Sentinel Hounds. Isa said confidently, her voice filled with pride. Naruto temporarily halted the progress of the advanced grade Sentinel to avoid the risk of it falling under Ultron's control. He would only create a plan once he could ensure that Isa could defeat Ultron without any possibility of his escape or return. This was to avoid the risk of designing an overpowered robot body, only for one of Marvel's most dangerous villains to swoop in and steal it. Some may label him as cautious, but he has always believed in the importance of prevention over cure. Incredibly, he had even tasked Isa with designing a multitude of highly sophisticated computer viruses, all with the sole purpose of ensuring Ultron's complete and utter destruction, leaving no room for survival. Great, and what about the serums? The DNA samples obtained from Rogue, Copycat, and Apocalypse have proven to be highly valuable in advancing our understanding in that particular field. I am currently utilizing a small fraction of my processing power to simulate numerous combinations of the serum, along with their potential after-effects and long-term consequences. At this rate, we can develop a power adaptation serum within 6 to 7 months. If you'd like, I can enhance my processing power for the research, Isa explained, displaying digital simulations of serums being injected into various mutants and observing their effects. This serum has the potential to assist mutants in gaining full control over their powers, or further adapt their bodies to align with their unique power set. This could be beneficial for numerous mutants, as many of them have experienced negative consequences from using their powers or have been left with disfigurements as a result of their abilities, such as the Morlocks. Additionally, the serum has the ability to eliminate the involuntary usage or power outbursts that often afflict mutants upon awakening or during the early stages of power development. I understand. And what about the power project? Naruto asked with a sense of optimism. The task has been finished. Sublime's research and DNA proved to be extremely valuable in that regard. We have created 2 different versions of the drug. They have the ability to activate latent X genes within human bodies or manipulate their physiology to create synthetic X genes. The initial version can grant individuals unpredictable abilities, similar to metahumans, which may or may not be influenced by external factors. On the other hand, the second version allows us to grant them any abilities we desire. Currently, we can only provide people with the abilities of animals through the second version. Further research is necessary to safely encode the powers of other mutants. Additionally, it is recommended to conduct further practical testing on the project. Aiza informed him, "You have done an excellent job, Aiza. I am thoroughly impressed. Great job. Keep up the good work." Naruto commended her. He would have even given her a pat on the head if she had a physical body. "By the way, I have been diligently monitoring various organizations that may pose a potential threat to you in the future, particularly the ones you specifically instructed me to keep a close watch on. And I have discovered individuals who may have initiated plans against you," Aiza stated, as a recording started playing in front of them. In that recording, Alexander Pierce was observed leading a meeting with a group of individuals engaged in a focused discussion around a conference table. "We need to address this new individual who claims to be a deity, as it poses a potential risk to our valuable research materials. We have suffered significant losses in our investments due to his actions. Trask Sentinels, Sublime's research, and even some promising mutants we were considering for recruitment have all been lost. All of this can be attributed to the actions of a single mutant who seems to have a god complex." An individual of Asian descent was expressing their frustration loudly. "I do agree. Despite our significant achievements in gaining control of major organizations like SHIELD, we cannot afford to be complacent while someone seizes our valuable research materials and consolidates power in various sectors. Based on our information, it appears that he may have control over the entire inner circle of the Hellfire Club." Another individual of Arabian heritage expressed his frustration, appearing visibly exasperated, as if he were experiencing difficulties in his personal life. "Perhaps we can form a partnership with this deity. It appears that his focus is primarily on advocating for mutants, which draws some similarities to Magneto. Perhaps by providing him with resources and assuring his safety, we may be able to earn his trust." A woman with a noticeable Italian accent said as she casually played with her hair, "I concur with all of you, esteemed individuals. I also believe that this individual could pose a potential issue for us down the line. However, at present they are completely unaware of Hydra's existence, and I believe it's best to keep it that way, particularly until we make progress on Project Tesseract, Project Insight, Project Hive, and Project Obelisk. Once those tasks are finished, nothing will stand in our way," Alexander said with a sinister grin. After the video ended, Naruto remained fixated on the direction of the hologram, lost in thought. "Wow, what a foolish individual. They were not able to achieve their goals before my arrival, and now they believe they can succeed. What is their strategy? Is it possible to place sniper guns on spaceships?" Naruto couldn't help but find amusement in the ignorance and foolishness of the Hydra Council. Perhaps that's why they consistently fall short against the Avengers, due to their consistent underestimation of their opponents. They displayed an air of superiority while remaining elusive. "By the way, may I inquire about the source of this recording?" Naruto inquired, his gaze fixed on Aiza, pondering whether she had managed to infiltrate Hydra with her own network of informants. "I deployed a team of highly skilled sentinels to discreetly observe the headquarters of various organizations, ensuring comprehensive monitoring of their activities and gaining control over the devices used by their members. However, due to the limited advancements in technology during this era, I am primarily receiving information from the Sentinels. They have been discreetly observing and tracking the key members of the organizations without detection. They are prepared to eliminate or neutralize any targets whenever required." Aiza confidently displayed the images of numerous Sentinels stationed at various locations across the globe, all of which were currently operational. "And what about the other organizations? Are you also keeping an eye on them?" Naruto inquired while examining the various locations of the Sentinels. "At the moment, I am monitoring Hydra and Red Room using stealth Sentinels while keeping an eye on Ten Rings and the Hand through conventional technological methods." "Well done, you exercised prudence when dealing with the paranormal groups. That's quite clever," Now, I believe it's time to elevate our little league to an international level, don't you agree? We are moving forward with Project Meta Heroes. Let's begin the preparations. Additionally, I believe it is imperative that we address a particular issue with Sinister sooner rather than later, Naruto said with a composed smile on his face. Additionally, I believe it is imperative that we address a particular issue involving Sinister, Naruto stated, a slight hint of satisfaction evident on his face. However, his exact whereabouts remain unknown at this time. We have received some information regarding the addresses and names he utilizes for his research, but unfortunately, nothing substantial has been found. Even the Cerebra couldn't pinpoint his location, likely because he's hiding in a place equipped with technology that can counter the Cerebra's tracking abilities. Aiza informed Naruto in a professional manner. So, can you provide any information on the whereabouts of Sinister? Naruto asked with a sense of disappointment. Absolutely not. Only when Sinister either makes an error in covering his tracks or reveals himself, right? Aiza also appeared to be feeling down while saying it. I understand. Then prioritize locating him and closely monitoring the activities of other organizations, particularly Hydra. Naruto gave clear instructions. Okay, Master, Aiza replied. Naruto was eager to extend the conversation with Aiza, but his attention was abruptly diverted by a call on his Nokia. To his surprise, Aiza had transformed it into a phone with supercomputer-like capabilities, complete with physical buttons. Hello. A voice I recognized came from the other side. You are the one addressing me as Gwen. I should be the one expressing that sentiment. So, why did you call me? Naruto inquired. Oh, it's you, Rudes. Jeffrey had an accident. He requires assistance, and many veterinarians are unable to treat him due to his unique physiology as a walking mutant shark. However, it occurred to me that my boss possesses remarkable healing abilities with a captivating golden color theme. Can you please assist him? Gwenpool said without hesitation, certainly. Please wait right there. I am reaching out to you. Naruto ended the call, stating firmly. Please open a boom tube to her location. He placed an order for Aiza. A red portal suddenly appeared, accompanied by a thunderous sound that seemed to tear through the fabric of space. Thank you, Naruto said as he confidently stepped through the portal and emerged on the other side. What on earth? Naruto was taken aback by the unexpected sight of Gwenpool in a compromising position, causing him to exclaim in surprise. All right, it may be challenging to articulate, but rest assured that the situation is not as it appears. Gwenpool said, still keeping her fingers in place. Allow me to make an educated guess. Were you engaging in personal activities while conversing with me over the phone while your pet shark is in distress in the adjacent room? Naruto said in a confident manner, one of his eyebrows raised. Alright, perhaps this is precisely how it appears. However, Mr. Boss, there is a valid explanation for this. Jeffrey is resting in the other room, and I have my own needs as I have been feeling quite frustrated and concerned, seeking a way to relieve myself. So I thought, why not utilize my boss' captivating voice for personal enjoyment? I was almost there until you arrived. By the way, could you please come in a few minutes later? I just need some time to gather my thoughts. Gwen smiled politely. No, Naruto replied with a serious expression. Oh no, it seems like I won't be receiving my release, will I? You seem to be attempting to provoke a strong emotional response from me, with the intention of asserting your dominance and control over my body through your expertise in sexual matters, ultimately leading to my dependence on you and entanglement in a complex and intense sexual relationship. Gwen inquired in a neutral manner. Yes, that was the original plan, Naruto confessed. He was unwilling to be dishonest. That was his strategy to keep the majority of his women. Love can be quite intoxicating, indeed. However, intimacy can become a powerful and compelling addiction, particularly when it involves a certain individual who manipulates others into becoming dependent on them for it. He had a very unprofessional attitude. Oh no, count me in. You had me hooked with the mind-blowing intimacy, Gwenpool remarked as she put her pants back on. Is that so? He inquired with sincere perplexity. Yes. We both understand that Marvel romances tend to be short-lived. In addition, Superpowered characters often experience complicated and emotionally challenging romantic relationships. Given the choice, I would always opt for a remarkable and extraordinary experience that leaves a lasting impression. Additionally, having a boyfriend who always tries to be overly protective can become monotonous. These days, it seems like everyone is drawn to the rebellious type, even when it comes to divine beings. Gwen smiled as she opened the bathroom door. Naruto remained silent, choosing not to respond to her words, as he quietly trailed behind her, pondering the extent of her eccentricity. It appeared to be a small animal hospital, as he observed various dogs and cats appearing sick or unwell throughout the entire establishment. Were you engaging in inappropriate behavior in a public animal hospital restroom? Naruto couldn't help but inquire, a slight smirk playing on his lips. Enjoyment is without sight. It is indifferent to location or time. Gwenpool spoke with a wise and knowledgeable tone, as if she were imparting the secrets of existence. Naruto didn't respond, instead choosing to silently accompany her to a bed where Jeffrey the small shark was peacefully resting. What occurred to him? Naruto inquired, observing the small baby shark peacefully slumbering, a troubled expression crossing his face. He couldn't help but acknowledge that the shark was rather adorable. It would make a great companion. We were unexpectedly targeted by individuals with unique abilities. Without a doubt, I emerged victorious against all adversaries, showcasing my lethal skills and stealth like a true master of combat. However, in the midst of my triumph, I momentarily overlooked Jeffrey, and in that brief lapse, an assailant unleashed a barrage of fiery blasts upon him. Gwenpool said, her voice filled with emotion. Oh, did he get hurt because of the blast? He inquired to see whether there were any burn scars on the young shark. No, he easily dodged them, Gwen said. Then how did he get hurt? Naruto inquired in confusion. He ate the person but couldn't adequately digest him. As a result, he began to experience severe gas and stomach discomfort. The physicians attempted to heal him with various drugs used on regular animals, but he is too powerful owing to his metaphysique for such medications to work on him. Gwenpool stated this with tears in her eyes. You called me here to heal your pet because he has gas? Naruto asked Gwen with a straight face. Yeah, Gwen said innocently. Fine, I'll heal him. But remember, next time call Aiza or Forge for these things before calling me. Naruto muttered, sighing. Okie dokie, boss. Gwen saluted like a soldier. Naruto stopped arguing with her and instead worked on mending the small mutant shark. A golden light quickly exited his hands and entered Jeffrey, gradually removing the shark's painful grimace. He will be well now. Just make sure he doesn't consume too many people next time, particularly those capable of firing energy blasts. Naruto grinned as he made a mental point to instruct Aiza to find out who assaulted Gwen. Will do. They'll make sure to feed him a stricter diet, and maybe I can get some Skrull meat. They should have arrived by now for the invasion. Gwen muttered the last bit to herself. Oh yes, I nearly forgot. The Skrulls. They should also provide a threat to metahumans. We should address them early on. Naruto said as he recalled the possible million-strong army of shape-shifting aliens on Earth. Maybe I could get Aiza to create a bioweapon virus to destroy all Skrulls or something. However, things go horribly wrong with viruses in the comics, so he'll have to walk lightly on that route. Naruto thought to himself. He did not like Skrulls. To him, they were tenants who had outstayed their welcome and were now turning on their benefactors, returning their benevolence with violence. So I was correct. You read the Marvel comics before being sent here, just like me. This is very great. So, are you from the dark DC multiverse or the Naruto universe? Or are you from a bizarre dimension where superheroes are also shinobi? Gwen murmured enthusiastically. I'm from the elemental nation. Now, stop talking about such things. I don't want an inquisitive short bald voyeur seeing us or the innumerable heavenly cosmic entities listening in. What we have should always be kept secret unless you want a full-fledged war to break out because some insane person wants our information for himself. Naruto warned Gwen. Oh, I didn't think about it. I must admit that you are clever, boss. My mouth is now shut, unless you wish to use it for yourself, in which case I will make an exception. By the way, what are you planning to do with Krakoa? I've always wanted to go to a sentient meta island with the ability to fly. Maybe we can spend our honeymoon there after we're married." Gwenpool continued to babble, unconcerned with Naruto's frequent sighs or the sorrowful expression on his face as a result of having to put up with her near lunacy, despite the fact that she was sweet and adorable. Inserting my dick into her mouth in public to stop her up seems quite appealing right now, but she is correct. I had nearly forgotten about the floating island in space and the mutants who were stranded there. Perhaps I might organize a visit to the island as a family excursion to improve everyone's spirits. Yeah, it sounds fantastic, particularly since it seems that Aiza will not be able to locate Sinister anytime soon. Naruto thought as he smirked at himself. "Hi, Gwen. I suggest you should pack your belongings. We'll be going on a vacation with the others." He continued to grin as he stated this. "Really? Yippee!" Gwen yelled with delight, startling Jeffrey, who was still asleep, and causing him to fall out of bed. Emma Frost points of view. "Miss Frost, are we really going to an unexplored island for our annual school trip?" Kitty, the girl from Sugar Rush, asked me with lights in her eyes. "For the 4th time in an hour, we are. Now go stand in line for the roll call." I stated this while trying not to be annoyed by her. I get that they are all excited to visit an island, but this is becoming more bothersome. Why is Aurora still not here? She should already be here since she is the principal. I am not even their instructor, but rather a member of the school board, since Meta, which is under my supervision, is the school's largest benefactor. I had requested Naruto to appoint me a member of Genosha's governing council, but he had instead named me a board member of the Arcane Institute, claiming that education is power. I can't believe he expected me to accept that BS. I had attempted many times to seduce him in order to alter his mind, but for some reason, I am always the one who is seduced. A deity with pleasure-inducing abilities is pitted against women like me. Even when I was the one blowing him, I came out like a fountain after he just touched me once. Although it was certainly the finest release I've ever had in my life, it was even better than touching myself secretly. And his flavor was wonderful. When I initially tasted it, I couldn't stop myself from shamelessly swallowing everything. "Emma, why do you seem to be thinking of some wonderful dish or something? You're practically drooling from your mouth." As she approached the area where the youngsters had lined up, Aurora smiled slightly. "Where were you, Aurora?" "I'd been waiting here for half an hour, watching after these youngsters." I responded with wrath and frustration in my tone, dismissing her query. "Calm down. Emma, I was only preparing for the smaller kids since we won't be bringing them with us. We will only accept anyone above the age of 14. So, I had to make sure that the other instructors could manage things here while we were gone, even if Hank and Charles would be here." Aurora answered with a grin, expressing no animosity. She seems to have begun calling Professor X Charles out of disrespect for the now retarded professor. "Huff, that's fine. So, should I tell them we're ready now?" I inquired, glancing at the scores of delighted children waiting in front of us. "Well, it seems that everyone has already arrived, and Jean will accompany Naruto. So yes, go ahead." She remarked this while checking everyone's faces one final time to see whether anybody was absent, despite Charles' previous roll call. I didn't spend any more time and contacted my so-called daughters via telepathy. A crimson gateway appeared with a booming sound, and Naruto, Jean, Vanessa, Elizabeth, and my girls passed through it. "You guys ready?" Naruto inquired, glancing at us and the kids who were standing with their bags on. Yeah, all the kids screamed simultaneously, as if we were about to engage in a combat. "Okay, good. Now, before we go on our expedition, certain ground rules must be set. As some of you may know, we are traveling to an uncharted sentient island the size of a small nation located on the moon. How and why? You'll realize it later. All you need to know is that if you accept our assignment, we will rescue some of your classmates who are stranded on the island and map as much of it as possible. Now, I've previously been to the island and confirmed that it is secure, so you don't have to be concerned about safety since it'll be accompanying you. However, it is still a rule for you all to work together in a group, obey your professors, and do precisely what they say. You may utilize your abilities if your professors allow it, or if you have to overcome any type of obstacle while on the mission. Failure to follow these guidelines will result in the perpetrator's instant teleportation back to the school. Do you all understand? Naruto delivered a lengthy speech while floating slightly in the air to make himself visible to everyone. Yes, they screamed in unison as they responded. So let's go then. He murmured this, and with emotion, Aiza floated alongside him, glowing as another red doorway appeared. Naruto was the first to enter the portal, followed by Ororo, Jean, myself, and finally everyone else. When I crossed over to the other side, I realized I wasn't on Earth anymore. This place was too stunning to be Earth. It was a continent covered in strange green vegetation that I had never seen before, purple rocks and ground so soft that it felt like walking on cotton. Even the air was purer than expected. In fact, there shouldn't be any air here at all given that we're on the moon since I can see the Earth in the sky from here. How is this possible? Vanessa asked Naruto the same thing I was pondering. However, Naruto did not explicitly respond to her. He just grinned and proceeded to stand in front of everyone. Everyone, welcome to Krakoa. This place is an island, a very living meta island, much like you and me. Krakoa includes the trees, rocks, and even the dirt on which you are standing. Naruto declared as if he were a tour guide giving us a tour of the museum. Many youngsters got obviously concerned and even afraid after hearing him. After all, who wouldn't be after learning they were standing on a live island? I just sighed at this. Naruto has a penchant for theatrics. He knows how to put on a show. Perhaps this is why he is more pleasant and popular than Magneto or Professor X. Although both of the elderly men were metahumans, they preferred to retain a superior air about them, as if they were above the others and that leading the metahumans was their birthright or something, but Naruto, despite being a god, exuded a welcoming aura. His whole demeanor and voice conveyed the impression that we could trust him, that he is the finest leader we would ever have, that we could tell him all of our secrets, expose all of our dreams, and he would never let us down. Don't worry, nothing will happen to you while I am here. If all goes well with our research today, we could even bring this island home and unite it with Genosha. Naruto dropped a bomb as he revealed his idea. If he is able to do so, many of our issues will be handled, particularly those that demand additional land resources, such as permitting more metahumans to relocate to Genosha or expanding businesses, among others. There is always a purpose for additional land in a nation, particularly when it is as rich and healthy as this. Naruto quickly ended his lecture about the island and our mission and indicated that we would be separated into groups, each led by an adult experienced metahuman. These groups will next visit other portions of the island, charting them and collecting examples of various flora before returning to a certain location for lunch. There would be a competition where all the groups would have to compete against each other to locate the trapped X-Men members on the island. Whoever discovered them first would have the opportunity to indulge in a delectable feast prepared by Naruto's esteemed personal chef for an entire week. Although I believe the previous activity had a somber tone due to the X-Men being trapped here for an extended period, it is undeniable that it served as an effective team-building exercise and provided everyone with an enjoyable experience. Is everything here secure? Ororo inquired with a concerned look as Naruto approached us, wearing a contented smile. Certainly. Rest assured. I prioritized the safety of my loved ones above all else. Last night, I thoroughly scanned the entire island with the assistance of Aiza to ensure that there are no potential threats present. Naruto said with a smile. Furthermore, during the encounter, Master engaged in a brief discussion with the island's avatar. Through effective communication, Master was able to establish a friendly rapport and clarify that he posed no threat. Remarkably, the island agreed to release all those it had previously been trapped. In exchange, the island requested Master's ongoing protection on Earth, as it expressed a desire to return to its original home. Elizabeth Braddock, also known as Psylocke, spoke with a subtle smile on her face, as if recalling a humorous memory. Wait, how were you able to communicate with the island? Does it communicate in English or something? Jean inquired with interest. I possess a unique skill known as Allspeak. It allows you to communicate with any intelligent living being, regardless of their language. Naruto responded. There wasn't much conversation that took place. The island, much like the rest of the world, appeared to have a grasp on the language of intimidation and aggression. After thoroughly examining its body multiple times, it was finally prepared to express remorse to its master while humbly kneeling down. Elizabeth quietly murmured, catching the attention of those around her. "All right, let's begin the adventure." Krakoa has also agreed to enhance the excitement of this exploration by releasing some of its spores as miniature monster trees for the students to engage in combat and put their powers to the test. I have put in extensive effort to ensure that today's exploration of this uncharted island will be truly thrilling for all of us here. Naruto himself appeared quite enthusiastic, which was undeniably endearing. I suppose having him as a spouse would always keep things interesting, wouldn't it? I understand that this exploration sounds interesting, but is it possible to proceed without my involvement? I was peacefully sleeping before you decided to wake me up so early in the morning. Vanessa expressed her dissatisfaction while gently rubbing her tired eyes. Oh, by the way, did I mention? The lunch today was prepared by the renowned chefs Ramsay Gordon and Bobby Flay. Naruto suddenly spoke with a professional demeanor, as if he had just recalled the information. Let's embark on an adventure. Let's expedite our exploration so we can enjoy lunch sooner. Vanessa felt a surge of determination and excitement as she confidently approached the group that had been assigned to her. Interesting. I suppose he was correct. Perhaps this could be enjoyable, I thought with a confident smile as I walked toward my own group. By the way, what happened to Celine? I didn't see her today, Aurora asked inquisitively as she approached Naruto. Celine and Morgana have made the decision to pursue and eliminate malevolent sorcerers or similar threats. They were informed that many sorcerers with nefarious intentions tend to possess significant wealth and possess a wide array of powerful magical artifacts. As a result, they made the decision to relieve them of these items. They discovered the presence of a sorcerer who was concealing himself on an island in Antarctica, prompting them to embark on a mission to confront him. Naruto was unabashedly exposed. Aurora was unsure of how to respond to that. Should she consider supporting this, given that they were indirectly contributing to the greater good by dealing with malevolent dark sorcerers? Or should she be concerned about her friends engaging in theft from unknown individuals? She couldn't decide what to do, so she chose to tactfully overlook the issue. In any case, I believe it would be beneficial for you to attend your group. They appear eager to begin their exploration. The other groups are already prepared and ready to go, so if you don't want to be outperformed by Emma, Vanessa, Logan, or Elizabeth's groups, it's time for you to get started too, he said confidently, anticipating what was about to happen. If you believe that they will prevail against me and my team, you are mistaken. I am absolutely determined to come out victorious against them, Aurora said with a poised smile and joined her group after giving Naruto a gentle kiss. Naturally, Jean, who happened to be nearby, witnessed this. She discreetly approached Naruto and planted a kiss on his cheek before departing to join Vanessa's group. Due to her lack of experience and authority, she was unable to take on the role of a group leader for this exploration. Now, with everyone prepared, let the exploration begin. Naruto utilized the Azura path of his Rinnegan to transform his hand into a mechanical cannon, unleashing a resounding blast into the sky as all four groups swiftly ventured further into the forest. Naruto crafted an adventure that catered to both adults and children, ensuring an abundance of challenges and puzzles along their journey. He meticulously crafted the entire endeavor to require a collaborative effort from various mutants, each utilizing their unique powers, physical prowess, and mental acuity. Their success hinged on working together as a cohesive team, all while striving to emerge victorious ahead of their competitors. He had implemented numerous rules to ensure fairness, such as limiting flight altitude to 10 meters above ground, prohibiting the use of electronics, and discouraging intergroup conflicts. Now, his task was to diligently monitor the groups, ensuring that everyone adhered to the rules and that everything remained in order. Vanessa Carlyle, also known as Copycat, shares her perspective. Miss Vanessa, could we possibly proceed at a more moderate pace? A young individual approached me, expressing their exhaustion and discomfort through heavy breathing and perspiration. We can, but then you'll have to compensate me for the 1 week of premium gourmet food that we'll be skipping. Do you have sufficient funds for that? I confronted the child. There was no way I was going to let anyone come in between me and my week-long indulgence in delicious gourmet food. Usually, I have the privilege of enjoying Gordon's culinary creations on a daily basis. However, I was well aware that if I lost, Naruto would temporarily remove Gordon from the kitchen. Naruto informed me that Gordon would be cooking for the winners for a week as a consequence, and I will not allow that to occur. I will be the one emerging victorious in this competition, and perhaps I could even negotiate an additional reward from Naruto. A sushi platter on his well-toned physique appears to be a delectable and remarkable delicacy. Well, he will likely decline as soon as I ask him, but it's nice to dream, isn't it? As I was envisioning a unique dining experience, one of my male group members let out an unexpected, high-pitched scream. Oh, what a surprise! Are those trees attempting to play a prank on those students? There were approximately 12 mature trees with branches reaching out towards the male students, playfully attempting to give them a wedgie, while the female students were gently brushed on their backsides by vines. Wait, don't tell me Naruto found the inspiration for this adventure from an unexpected source, which could potentially cause some complications for us. Krakoa has demonstrated exceptional competence in fulfilling its task. Alright, it'll find a way to reward it later. I had put a lot of thought into making this adventure more intense and realistic for the students, and I had developed the ideal formula: focus on a topic that consistently captivates teenagers, such as adult content or, in this case, hentai. The trees will evoke a strong sense of fear, causing individuals to perceive a threat to their well-being. This will prompt them to take the situation seriously and put forth their utmost effort. However, it is important to note that in reality, those trees pose no real threat. At most, they may play harmless pranks or cause minor inconveniences, but the fear they still prevents people from realizing this and motivates them to work diligently to protect themselves. I am highly skilled and exceptionally talented. Naruto felt a sense of pride. He was considering implementing this as a long-term training method for the students at the school, with the aim of motivating them to put in more effort. It was fortunate that his thoughts remained unknown, as they could potentially earn him titles associated with sadism or perversion. From the perspective of Aurora Monroe, also known as Storm, this was supposed to be a straightforward task, wasn't it? I thought Naruto promised that this would be an enjoyable experience. While it has certainly been an enjoyable experience, the unexpected confrontations with trees attempting to intimidate students have unfortunately resulted in many developing a fear of trees. Some of the individuals even discarded their undergarments to avoid experiencing discomfort from wedgies. However, to their dismay, the trees fashioned new undergarments using their leaves and barks, resulting in even more uncomfortable wedgies. This caused some of them to become quite emotional. Even the girls were not exempted from this treatment. Those who were more tomboyish received the same treatment as the boys, while those who were considered more delicate were subjected to physical punishment. Indeed, that all changed once they started harnessing their abilities. It is important to take proactive action instead of relying on others to solve your problems, as the trees will persistently bother you otherwise. If you make an effort to protect yourself, the trees will not bother you. It was a valuable lesson for the children, until the next test came. The typical challenges that the students had been facing until now were not particularly difficult but rather enjoyable. They were tasked with various activities such as constructing bridges to cross a lake, clearing bushes to uncover a path, or starting a fire using their abilities or everyday skills. However, the next test presented a unique challenge. It was a test of skill and expertise. It appears that the intention behind this was to evaluate your leadership skills and your capacity to collaborate effectively. During the next test, the students found themselves facing a daunting challenge as they were surrounded by a large number of walking mini-tree monsters. These creatures attempted to capture the students and bind them to their own bodies. I considered assisting the students as I had previously, but ultimately chose not to do so on this occasion. They should handle this independently. I have already come to the realization that none of these challenges or monsters posed any harm or danger. This was a highly sophisticated and meticulously crafted simulation of our danger room, seamlessly blending with the natural environment. In addition, This proved to be an effective method for nurturing individuals with strong leadership qualities to emerge from the student body and effectively guide everyone to safety. James Howlett, also known as Logan, and famously referred to as Wolverine, shares his perspective. Let's go, children. You are capable of accomplishing this task. I am cheering for you all. Utilize your capabilities. Bobby, please exercise caution when using your ice power. Be mindful of the impact it may have on your friends. And Kurt, if you attempt to escape once more, you will be subjected to a week of detention for physical education classes. I stated as I casually enjoyed a beer while perched atop a tall tree. It seems like you have a different perspective. You're not the one battling these relentless towering trees here. One of the children confidently exclaimed as they unleashed a powerful stream of organic blue ink onto the face of the nearby tree monster. Then you should strive to excel and prove your worth. Shouldn't you, pal? Until then, be cautious about receiving hugs from the diminutive tree creatures or enduring wedgies from their towering counterparts. I said, brushing off the kids' complaints. This was an incredible experience. Naruto was correct. This location has provided me with a sense of tranquility that I haven't experienced in years. I really appreciate this, especially after that annoying laser boy has been persistently trying to hug me so many times. It was becoming quite bothersome. I'm curious about his current situation. Was he always that eccentric? Or did something happen to him after Jean broke his mind? Anyway, I hope he doesn't attempt to impose his eccentricity on me, or I might find myself compelled to take action. Naruto had been anticipating a multitude of events to unfold. He had anticipated that some individuals might quit during the journey, but to his surprise, no one did. He had anticipated a potential mishap, such as a child's powers spiraling out of control. However, it is worth noting that no such occurrence took place. Surprisingly, Psylocke's group managed to find the X-Men prisoners before lunchtime, which was beyond his expectations. Initially, he was perplexed by their methods, but then he had a sudden moment of clarity. Psylocke had utilized her abilities. Unlike the other telepaths, she recognized the potential of her psionic abilities to monitor the activities of everyone on the island, and she took full advantage of it. Initially, she was unable to detect the presence of the captured X-Men members. However, she soon discovered her ability to sense every individual in the forest, including various groups, teachers, and everyone except Naruto. She had a remarkable ability to create a detailed mental map using her powers, but there was a noticeable absence of information regarding a small portion in the middle of the island. She was unable to detect a small portion of the land. Upon further reflection, she came to the realization that this location could potentially be the hiding spot for the captured X-Men, strategically positioned beyond the reach of any telepathic abilities. She led her group to that area and, with her exceptional leadership, she was the first to arrive and discover the large amber rock made of plant sap that had ensnared the 4 young X-Men. I suppose it's time to announce lunchtime and dismiss those children then. Naruto pondered silently as he observed the somber and desolate countenances of the individuals ensnared within the amber. Stay tuned for more. With that, this video comes to a close. I want to thank you for taking the time to see this video. Leave a like, subscribe, and watch the following video if you like this one.